We're back for another wonderful episode, and I am so excited to learn something new today. And I'm learning it from the amazing Holly Herbig is in the house. Hi, Holly. So good to have you here.
Hello. I think that's the most enthusiastic welcome I've ever had onto a podcast, and I've done hundreds. So thank you.
I'll take it. I'll take it. I am excited. I am thrilled when I heard about you and I heard that you were willing to carve out some time to talk about human design. I was so thrilled. So let me share with everyone that's listening and watching what you're about, because you kind of are blowing me away and we're just scratching the surface. Yeah, seriously. Like, wow, you've got the chops. Okay. So Holly is the world's leading specialist in human design manifestors. We'll talk about human design in a little bit. In fact, we're going to talk a lot of it. She facilitates the official online teaching community exclusively for manifestors. She's a certified human design and gene keys teacher and a business veteran with 15 plus years experience in multi-million and multi-six-figure businesses under her belt. She's also a certified clinical hypnotherapist, breathwork, EFT, and meditation practitioner, as well as a Reiki 2 healer and a certified trauma-informed life and success coach. Woo! This woman has been busy. You've been busy.
I have. It's always so strange to hear your bio read by someone else because it's such a moment of self-reflection. Like, wow, I've done all that. That's all right. That's pretty okay.
Exactly what happens to me too. It's like, yeah, well, there's a list. Like, wow, I've been doing a few things in my life. As one who has done a lot, I just want to just reflect back, like the combination of what you've been learning and studying and becoming an expert at. It's thrilling to know you. So I'm thrilled. I'm very excited to share what you know. So let's dive in. Let's dive in with human design. It's a system. I remember being introduced to it many years ago, like maybe 15 years ago. I don't remember anything other than there's different designs. There are different people that have different designs, and I'm one of them. And that's as far as I go. So maybe start with how you got into the human design system and what it is. Let's start from the very beginning.
I was just going to quote exactly the same thing. I love that. Thank you so much. So human design is relatively newish in terms of systems that talk about self-awareness or spirituality or esoterics or energetics. We usually operate in systems that are thousands of years old, but human design only emerged in the 80s. And so it's still pretty new. And we've seen, especially in the last few years, since 2020, it was with the hit of COVID, that it's done this kind of big emergence out into the global collective. And now a lot of people are at least aware of the term human design and they've heard it somewhere, which is a beautiful thing as a human design teacher. So the textbook definition of human design is that it's the science of differentiation. And what that means is that this is a system of knowledge and language that tells you how you are different from everyone else, which was so important to me coming into human design. And I resisted it for a long time. I didn't want it. I already had a whole bunch of learning and a whole bunch of languages and systems and self-awareness, and I didn't need another one. I didn't want another set of labels. But what really appealed to me about human design over time was that it starts from that perspective. It starts from the lens of, this is not about telling you how you are the same as everyone else, because a lot of our systems, that's what it is. A lot of our systems are broad categorizations of, oh, this is your zodiac, or this is your Myers-Briggs, or whatever it is. This is how you're the same as all of these other types of people, and we kind of get a bit homogenized. Human design says, we're not interested in how you're the same as anyone. We're only interested in how you are unique and how you are individual and how you are different. So it really is a system of permission giving to let go over time of all of those things that you have collected that aren't you, all of those behaviors or those beliefs or those fears or those obligations that you've collected that block up who you really are here to be. And
Wow.
that's the gift of something like human design, is that it's just this constant permission give and this constant space for self-love. The system itself is actually kind of not really original. It's a hybrid of many different existing systems, and it's this really cool balance of spirituality on one side and science on the other. So on the spirituality side, we've got a lot of astrology in there. There's I Ching, Kabbalah, the chakra system. So something kind of for a lot of the woo-woo people. And then on
And
the
we've got a
science
few
side,
here.
right? I'm one of you. I'm there with it. And then on the science side, there's a really strong emphasis on epigenetics and biomechanics. So it's this ability to look at this fused language to determine not just why do I feel the way that I feel, but how is my body responding to that, and how has my brain mapped because of that, and why do I always feel like I don't particularly fit into this part of society, or I can't walk down this pathway, or this thing that is successful for other people is never successful for me, regardless of how hard I try at it. It really speaks to, why do I have the trauma that I have? Why do I have the wounding that I have? Why do I have the strengths that I have? What are the things that are natural and easy and effortless and aligned and magnetic for me that are different from the person standing next to me? So it's kind of glorious, actually,
I'm just
which
sitting
is
here
why
just
I've been
like
in it for
you.
so long.
Oh my God. I mean, for those listening on the podcast, you would, I'm just smiling. My heart is like blasting wide open, because it pains me so much how much shame people hold and the struggles people have, and this deep desire to fit in, to be the same, to go, oh, this is who I am. And to what I'm loving this is to honor who we really are, that we don't have to be everything, and to honor our sweet spots, what are our golden nuggets, and to live from that place. And I think about all the people that struggle so much swimming upstream, and this system with so many really cool aspects. I mean, I had no idea the I Ching was in there, and I mean, chakras, I mean, oh my God, epigenetics, I mean, my God, everything but the kitchen sink, right? And to be able to take the shame off of people and help them know how they're wired. I love it. I love it. I love it. How did you get into this? I can see why you love it. I could see why I love it. How did this fall in your lap, and why did you say, this is it for me?
I mean, we call human design the rabbit hole because it kind of finds you. I think everybody has a similar story with human design, that it's because it was a channeled system. It has its own sort of energetic signature, and it kind of comes and gets you. It just drags you.
I think it just got me.
Pretty much. So I fell into human design back in late 2018, early 2019. And it had come up a lot in the spaces that I was in. I was working as a spiritual business coach. I'd previously been in a brick and mortar business. I owned a cafe and events business and sold that, went through a huge kind of trauma recovery time and a lot of aspects of spiritual awakening. It was all over my Saturn return. It was a doozy. It was real fun. And eventually moved into the online space and began teaching business, but from the spirituality lens. And so I was aware of a lot of different systems, a lot of different ways of looking, at numerology and astrology, and even just the fundamentals of spirituality, like ego and intuition and masculine and feminine. And, that was all my area. And I had a number of people around me who were into human design that kept bringing it to me and saying, you should run your chart and you should learn it and you should talk to me about it. And I was saying,
Wow.
no,
Yeah.
I'm fine. I don't need anything else. I'm good. Thank you very much. And I eventually was part of a mastermind where we had a retreat in LA at the end, which was in, I think end of 2019. And so I flew over to LA. I'm based in Australia, obviously, from the accent, and flew to LA and stayed in an Airbnb with these beautiful sisters that I had done this mastermind with. And one of them was a human design teacher. And she really, quite frankly, just sort of vomited human design all over me for 4 days straight.
Wow. Wow.
I got to the end of that retreat and I very genuinely, quite literally, put my hands physically up in the air and said out loud, okay, universe, all right. If you want me to take it, I will take it. I will dive into this thing and see where I go with it. And that just opened this completely unexpected new path. Over the following 6 months, I shut down my business. I went into an enormous rest period. I came back out and I set up as a human design teacher. During that rest period, I'd certified in human design and Gene Keys, which is like a subsystem of human design, and created the manifestor community, which is
I
what
love
we
it.
now have, which is a community focused on one of the energy types in human design, which back then had never been done, in the human
Yeah.
design space. And now it's sparked a whole bunch of other people doing the same thing, which is really, really beautiful to see.
I'm so glad I asked that question because sometimes we can just like go into all the information. And there's something you share that I think is so important for our listeners to hear and watchers to witness, which is you being able to take some time to shift into like it fell in your lap to a certain extent, and you listened, you moved, you changed your whole life because it felt aligned for you. Am I catching that right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I
Because
think,
that, yeah,
I mean, it's the process of surrender, right? Which is core
yeah,
to all healing and all self-awareness.
right.
And unfortunately, it's the most challenging, time-consuming part of
Well,
the
and
journey.
here's the love realm, and these women are wanting to open up their hearts and go into relationships. So I'm so curious to see how this fits for them. So okay, you said that the manifestor is just one of the types. Is there a way to quickly go over the types, or do we just focus? Okay, great.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Let us
yeah,
let
we
us
can
know what
definitely
they
do
are
that.
and what the manifestor is, because I know that's your sweet spot.
Yeah. So the very kind of surface level of human design, it's quite an onion because it's got so many systems brought in. There's layers to human design, but the very outside layer is what we call the energy types. And everybody is broken down into one of 5 energy types, which if you jump on a human design website, there's a lot of them now where you can run a free body graph. So you'll get your human design chart
Nice.
and it will look like gobbledygook. It will look like you don't understand a damn thing. There's shapes and lines and colors and numbers, but there will be one section of it that says energy type, right? So you will know from your chart which energy type you fit into. And those 5 energy types are representative of different percentages of the population and kind of give a bit of a broad stroke
Yeah.
understanding of this is kind of your umbrella. Like this is generally the arch under which your energy likes to move. And then as you go further into the system, it gets more individual and detailed. But those energy types are first and foremost our generators, and they are at about 37% or so of society. So they're our most dominant type. And generators are like sunshine. They create, they produce, they respond. They have this level of consistency about them in doing that. They're very sacrally driven. For anybody who's into the chakra system, they have a very, very active sacral chakra. So they're very engaged and very responsive with life. They have the ability to get up in the morning and do the gym and, do the breakfast and go to work all day and come home and have dinner and go to sleep and recharge their battery and wake up tomorrow and do exactly the same thing all over
Wow.
again. So we have this kind of huge portion of the population where we can see that social structure really is set up beautifully for them. The only key is that they need to be doing something that really lights them up. And a lot of generators get very caught into doing what they think they should do. What are they obligated to do, right? Oh, this is the career that I should have had. And I went to university and I
Mm,
got my degree. And so here I am, and I'm unhappy and I'm frustrated and I'm unsatisfied with life. Yeah. So it's not all peaches and sunshine just because you're a generator. But if you can capture into what is it that I'm really responding to that actually lights me up, that's where the life is.
Nice.
Then we have manifesting generators at about 33% or so, and they're a hybrid type. So they've got that generator energy to them, but they've also got a dash of the manifester, which is another energy type. And we like to call manifesting generators generators on steroids, because they have that ability to create, to produce, to show up, to engage, to respond, right? They love it. They live large. They're a force of nature.
So would you say
But
Tony
they can
Robbins is a generator, like a manifestor generator?
oh, surely. A lot of celebrities are
Yeah.
manifesting generators. A
Yeah.
lot. Because they have, I mean, the greatest example is actually Pink, the singing artist
Oh,
Pink. She's a
yeah.
heavily defined manifesting generator, right? And she's got that like I'm larger than life
Yeah.
sort of feel
Yeah.
to her. Yeah. Um, but our manifesting generators are able to do all of that creation, all of that engagement, all of that responding, but do it with a lot of different things all at once. So they're extraordinary multitaskers, and they bounce around a lot. They're very busy. They're good when they're busy. They're good when they're constantly moving. The thing that they struggle with is that they often get conditioned to be like generators, that they grow up being told, you're too hyperactive. You won't sit still. You need to slow down and mature and grow up and pick one thing and choose one path. They're not about one path.
Yeah.
They're about shortcutting 5 different paths all at once and getting to a place really quickly, right? Then we move on to our next group, which is the projectors. The projectors are at about 20%, and they are the first of our non-sacral types. So all of a sudden, that means that they're tired. They don't have that sacral energy that the generators and the manifesting generators have. So projectors move slower and they go deeper. And projectors are all about teaching and guiding. They want to go into the depth of something. They want to learn it and embody it and then bring it to people and guide people through that. Projectors are extraordinary, and we see so many of them now in the online business space in coaching roles, which is remarkable because that's exactly where they should be, right? I think our best public example of a projector is Barack Obama, right? He had that real like insatiability for knowledge and for mastery, but all for the purpose of guiding people, of making the world better, a better place.
So interesting. And I know I'm stopping the flow here for a second. Before we came on, I was saying I took the test years ago and I was told I was projector. And, as you're describing generator, I'm like, yes, I'm a generator. I would totally have thought generator manifester because I have ideas up the wazoo and I'm constantly like thinking, blah, 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 blah. But you just nailed it. It's like, I want to go deep. I want to make a difference. And I guess that's maybe why I might even struggle, because there's a part of me that wants to go faster, but I need to have it in a certain way so that it's really solid and I can actually do really good work. Does that make sense?
100%. And that's a lot of the conditioning that projectors struggle with, is to be like manifesting generators, because your ability to learn something, to master something, to go deep into it, and then to guide people through it is incredibly valuable.
Wow,
And
so interesting.
it gets recognized by others. But then, of course, because we have a very consumerist driven society, we're still very, very founded on capitalism.
Yeah.
So that the pressure is then, we'll do that all the time and do more of it and do it with more people. But you can't. As a projector, you're not meant to stretch that thin. You're not meant to be in all of the places at complete depth all of the time. That's a special skill that requires you to focus on something and put your all into it, and also manage your energy levels while you go. So what's really amazing for projectors is to have a nap, to have a daily nap that will do wonders for your body. And really no other energy type needs rest in that way. But projectors who are able to look after their body like that, like work intensely on something for a few hours, have a nap, go back, work for another couple of hours, right?
I just
And
got
you see
permission to
projectors
have
rise.
more naps. No, I definitely listen. I've worked this a lot. And with that said, that's spot on. Is there another type? Did you finish with that one first?
So we've got two more energy types. So
Wow.
next is the manifestors, which is the energy type that I am, and that's the specialty area that I run. Manifestors are at 9% of society, so we're pretty rare. It's not many of us around.
Yeah.
And manifestors are remarkably different from everyone else because we're the only energy type that has a closed energy. Everyone else has open energy, but manifestors have this kind of closed auric quality where we are a bit separate. We got a bit of a wall between us and the rest of the world. And the reason that we do is because we're here to initiate new things into the collective. So manifestors are often referred to as the visionaries, the trailblazers. Anything new that we've experienced has come from a manifestor. Even when we look back at I think one of my favorite examples of a manifestor is the person who designed the Eiffel Tower was a manifestor, right? This kind of like, let's bring in a whole new, weird, wild, wonderful concept that's going to impact the world. The manifestor is going to charge through and birth it. And we're like a steam train when we do that. We want to just drop it. We want to bring this thing that nobody understands because we believe in it, because we can see it, because we can hold the vision, which is why we need to be a bit separate. But then once the manifestor has initiated, they're going to disappear again and go into long, long periods of deep rest. So manifestors in their natural state have this tendency to kind of be in and all in and lights blazing and everybody sees you and you're fully illuminated and you're so magnetic, and then you're gone and you disappear.
Wow.
And nobody can find you and you're hermiting, right? So immediately manifestors have a lot of difficulty fitting in with normal social structure.
I can't help but like tie it to like dating. I'm just kind of, as you're saying all of these types,
gosh,
I'm thinking those are the ghosters. Those are the people that like dive right in and go full blast and they're like, boom, I'm out of here.
Manifestors hate being told what to do, And we see this in dating so much because somebody will inadvertently tell the manifestor what to do. And the manifestor's like, I'm out. I'm done. And I will just disappear and I will leave you and disconnect from you and you will never see me again. Right.
Wow. Yeah.
So we have some particular behaviors that come up in relationships as manifestors.
Yeah, I would think,
and then
I would think manifestors might be more challenged with relationships overall. Would you say?
Definitely. Yeah. And intimacy for a manifestor is a challenge. And I think we particularly see male manifestors who have that added sort of like the broken masculinity, the patriarchal standards, all of that woven in. And I often see relationships where people are in a relationship with a male manifestor and just struggling. They're just struggling to break through and to have any level of meaningful connection and meaningful intimacy with them. So if any of that sounds familiar, you might have a manifestor.
Oh, I'm thinking I might, in the past, I think that is the kind of man I was attracted to for all the different reasons that I've shared with other people. Interesting. There's still one more, isn't there?
There is. We have our rarest of the rare types, which is the reflectors, and they are at 1%. So if you ever find that you have a reflector in your life, count your lucky stars because they're our little unicorns.
Aww.
And reflectors are completely energetically open, wide open. So what they do is that they, on a very deep, slow level, they take in everything from their environment energetically, they process it, and then they bring back and reflect the wisdom and say, this is what's up. This is what's broken. This is what's unhealthy. This is what we need to shift here. So we have this kind of remarkable process altogether in an ideal world where everybody was free and healed to operate as is perfect for them to do so. We have the manifestors initiating new things, the the projectors coming in to support the manifestors by guiding that and bringing it out into the world, which is why projectors and manifestors are constantly attracted to each other and often end up in love and relationships with each other, because it works well when it works.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then we have our generators who come in and they build it out. They want to create and respond and build it and put this structure to it. Our manifesting generators then jump in and they innovate it and they take it in all of these different directions and they expand it. And our reflectors this whole time have been taking it deeply inwards, processing it, reviewing it, observing it, and at the end of it say, this is what we learned. This is what we still need to learn.
Wow.
And then we bounce back to the manifestor to initiate again. So while general, the energy types really do provide us, I think, an understanding of this is actually how we all work in harmony. And when we're talking about relationships, just understanding an energy type alone, just knowing your energy type and your partner's energy type, or the person that you're dating, knowing their energy type, can show you so much of how you both naturally show up in the world and what it is that you're looking for. Because more often than not, what we're unconsciously doing is expecting our partner or the person that we're dating to be in the world exactly as we are in the world, right?
Yeah.
We've got our generators saying like, I go to sleep at night and I recharge my battery and I wake up in the morning and we go again. Like, I've been in the same career for 30 years and I've mastered it because I love it. And isn't that amazing? And why don't you do that? And they're partnered with a projector who's saying, I'm tired. Like, I need naps. And I can't do that. I got to slow down and I got to go deep and I've got to figure out where I'm being recognized and where I'm being invited, right? So if we can understand just this alone about each other, it provides so much more space for openness and love in our connection with other people.
Oh, wow. It's such a beautiful map, a real map to understanding how we work and why some things may not be working. So brilliant. So brilliant. You have a special, what was it? I put it on my manifestor beginning pack. I mean, that's your specialty, is with manifestors. And you have this pack on your website. Can you share a little bit about what this is? Because there might be some people that want to know more about you and certainly more about being a manifestor.
Yeah. So like the good little manifestor I am, I'm very like out of the normal function, and I specialize just in one energy type, which is manifestors. And on our website, we have the Manifestor Beginner Pack, which is a collection of audio teachings of all of the kind of critical foundational elements of being a manifestor. So of course, it's useful if you run your chart and you find that you're a manifestor and you want to know what the heck that is. And most manifestors really don't want to spend 48 hours Googling everything. Projectors do. Projectors love that. Manifestors, not so much into that process. But it's also really helpful for people who are not manifestors but have one in their lives. We are the most difficult energy type to connect with and to understand, but we're also quite magnetic. So we tend to get people in relationship with us who really, really want to love us and really want to understand us, but they just kind of can't quite get there without a little bit of language to help them. So if you are a coach or a teacher or a guide in any capacity and you suspect you've got a manifestor in your clients, if you're married to a manifestor, if you are raising a manifestor, if your parents were manifestors, it's definitely worth getting into this information. And the beginner pack is a really kind of easy, accessible way to start learning that in a kind of simplified language.
Wow. Sounds amazing. Sounds absolutely amazing. We'll put everything in the show notes for those want to jot it down. It's the manifestor with a TOR spelling, manifestorcommunity.com. The manifestorcommunity.com. We'll definitely put in the show notes. You know, we are at time, but I got to ask one more question.
Yeah.
So,
please do.
So, you know, it's just like anything. It's like, you know, you go to a restaurant, you see this great menu, you know, I love Italian food, I'm going there. But then you hear about this really awesome Indian restaurant. You're like, well, I really want to go there too. As you were sharing all of these energetics, I was seeing myself in all of them. I'm curious to take the test again for sure, because I'm questioning how I discovered it. My question to you though is, can you cultivate some more of the highlights of some of the other types if you are one type?
Yeah, this is the beauty of human design, is that once you get beyond that outside layer of energy type, you go down all of these different layers. We've got profile types and inner authority and energy centers and channels and all of these kind of cool quirky things, which start to show you all of the nuance of who you are. And I mean, the craziness about it is that often you come across these seemingly opposing things, like, oh, I'm a projector, but I've got manifestor channels in my body. How does that work, right? So a lot of aspects that are within you will very much be characteristic of other energy types, because we are not just one thing. We are not
Exactly.
limited to
Yeah.
one box. And you are created, or created yourself, whatever your philosophy is, in this perfect energetic blueprint to do what you came here to do, to
Yeah.
have this life experience that you came here for. So it's not a matter of, oh, I came to this life to be a reflector. That's what I'm here to do. No, you're a reflector, but you're going to have aspects to you that are very manifestor, that are very generator, right? That are all of these different, beautiful individual complexities, because that gives you all of the tools in your toolbox and the exact roadmap that you need to
Yeah.
live that life that you came here to live. And
So
that's
perfect.
what
So
makes you
beautiful.
individual. Yeah.
Love it. You are such a breath of fresh air. And I totally see that you love this. And I'm really blessed to have spent time with you. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Oh, thank you for having me. It is a genuine privilege to have any space to share with an audience that somebody else has cultivated and loved. So I very, very much appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. All right, sisters, that's our episode for today. I'm sure your head's spinning like mine is. Go to her site, go get her beginner pack and dive in. I can't wait to do more. Thank you, thank you, thank you. See you next week. Mwah. One more thing before you go. Have you taken my Discover Your Love Avatar quiz? It's a 2-minute quiz that can help you not only know your strengths, your superpower, because you have one, also identify some of your blind spots, some of the things that might be having you in your fear, having you behaving in ways that aren't in alignment with your highest self, the way you want to be when it comes to dating and relationships. And it'll also help you discover why maybe the stars haven't lined up for you yet. Bottom line is, you take this 2-minute quiz, you get a full report in your email with details on how to move forward in next level love, whether you want a partner or not. So you can go to midlifeloveoutloud.com/love quiz. The link is in the show notes as well. And if you haven't liked and subscribed to the station, I'm going to encourage you to do that too, so you don't miss any episodes. And I hope you got a ton out of today's. See you next week. Mwah.